Yeah, I'm very glad that I can give the lecture on product development today, again, with my friend and a very great expert in the automotive industry, Sven from Unity Consulting Innovation AG. And together, we will speak today about product development and the future of product development. You should see now all my screen. Yeah, let's start. Sven, do you see my screen? Please give me a feedback.
Yes.
Super, thank you. So let's start. What we want to do today. We want to give you an overview about product development in the context of product management. We will display and discuss major challenges in the automotive industry and displaying solution approaches, which Sven also giving in the real world to real car makers, to real managers. I'm also very excited to listen to him. But like always in the beginning, we have to start with some theory. Where we can find product development. Nowadays, actually in almost every stage, but in general, product development starts in the conception stage and in the development stage. The product development in the conception stage should include and should define the product and company strategy, define the markets, constraints, so like business and time, and we should keep in mind the stakeholder requirements. What are stakeholders? Stakeholders are all guys who are involved into the company. This can be internal and external. I will come later to the stakeholders more closely, but keep in mind stakeholders are people and organizations who are involved in the company and in company services. Yeah. And the product development should consider the whole product life cycle. This means I will allow other people to join. Always not so good if the lecturer is the moderator.
Stephan, I'm focusing on let them in. Focus you on your presentation.
You can invite them.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. Good, then I will continue. Yeah, we should consider the whole life cycle, so to say. Who will use the product? About the production itself, how we will produce the product. What is the most economical and environmentally friendly way? And also we should consider the recycling. Can we easily recycle electrical cars and batteries like normal petrol engine powered cars? Also, we have to think, of course it's obvious, but we have to think what kind of product we have. Here I showed you a short overview about kind of products. There's a big part of services. We have a big part of software. And of course, we're having physical products that we can touch. To services, we can say we can agile develop a service. We can try out what works, what not works. The costs for this development are usually quite low, and the product life cycle is quite short. And as I already said, we can test easy. Similar to software, but with software, complexity is increasing. We have also agile development. We can test after each development cycle what is working, what not. And the prototypes are usually quite low. Coming to physical products like the car or in general mechanical products, we're having a lot of disciplines integrated into the product development. We have to take care about mechanical issues. We have to care about electrical issues. Nowadays, software and electronic are so important. And here even we have to consider different types of product management. And also the product development takes a quite long time. The prototypes are very expensive, almost often in the 7-digit area. And we have also to consider not only about the product. When we're having a car, we're having the maintenance, service, sales, and so on. All these services we also should keep in mind when we develop a new product. What you can see here is a product life cycle, what we discussed last week. For the guys who were here last week, it should be familiar. I just want to emphasize on this slide that we have one problem with product development. You can see this green arrow, it means market introduction. If we cannot introduce our product to the market, we're producing costs, but no revenue. Only with the sales of our new developed product, we starting to make at least some revenue. And if we don't concentrate on the proper product development, we having a real nice area like in the university in research, but we don't have any gains. So we always have to keep in mind that when we develop something, we have to develop for the market, and then the market has to buy this. Yeah. You should always involve all stakeholders in the product development. What are stakeholders? For whom who didn't heard this word before, stakeholders are really everybody who is involved. These are your employees, the management, you can even say the guys who are opening the door in the morning, and the cleaning lady up to the management. Everybody is a stakeholder of your product, your company, because they're involved into this. Also, you should think about investors, about your clients. Of course, the clients should be underlined here. Also, authorities are very important. Keep in touch with your tax authorities about changes in taxation of some product methods, about environmental authorities, also about NGOs like Greenpeace. They could make your life very hard if you don't keep them up to date to your production process if you are a big company with big factories. Also keep in mind changes in the society. 10 years ago, nobody spoke about electrical cars and the air pollution, or in general, the environmental pollution. Nowadays, the push on electrical cars came from this green party people who really want to improve the environmental situation. Also, think about don't forget your service providers who will help to maintain or to distribute your product. To outline, identify all your stakeholders at the beginning of your product development and identify the specific requirements. invest enough time in the conception phase to ensure that you develop the right product. And also in the further development of your product, involve your stakeholders. Try, in best case, try out it's as often as possible and as it выгодно, like you say in Russian, what really the client needs and wants. Coming to an example where product development was not so good. I hope everybody from you, or not hope, I think everybody from you heard about the Boeing 737 MAX. This is a completely failure for the Boeing company, who introduced a plane which crashed in the last 2 years, 2 times in a row, and what was grounded because of the crashes for a very, very long period. I think in some countries, even this Boeing is not allowed to start and carry passengers even today. And Boeing has now a big problem. The product was delivered to the airlines. So they have to either to maintain this, after they found the solution for the Boeing, they have to, for this airline, they have to maintain this plane either on the client's ground, or they have to bring this plane to Seattle to Boeing workshop. The trust into the plane is very low, so the airlines are reluctant to buy because passengers are reluctant to board on this plane. And also, what is also one of the main problems, the changes in design are needed, so to say. You have a lot of extra work, and it's like you cannot plan it in production, you have to do it afterwards. And this increases the cost heavily. That's why Boeing wanted to be super smart and used for this plane, let's say a cheap software with some mistakes, and they pay for this mistake a lot nowadays. Yeah, I mentioned it already, the importance of services during the product development. We have to consider that we can use the service around the product also for gaining revenues. So one example for that are spare parts. How I organize the distribution of spare parts to my workshops, to my partners who are carrying out the maintenance services. What will be the price of the maintenance services? Sometimes a very good engineering solution is very bad for maintenance because it takes too long to repair some parts. Also, if you're having smart home applications, think about how to design the app that Android and iOS and other systems could use the smart home functions of your product. Also think about second markets. A lot of car manufacturers making a good deal by reselling their used products. And last but not least, and keep in mind Greenpeace, don't forget the recycling. Because the best product, what you cannot recycle, can make a very big headache in 5 years. Yeah. So far, this is a theory to product development. Does anybody from you has some questions to me? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Do you see any question?
Yeah, there's one question. What is more important, advertising a product or investing in its quality?
You know that I'm a part-time lawyer, so I would say it depends. Okay, if your product has a very bad quality, it will make some anti-marketing. So it depends, but you always should make, we call it the spagat. You have to balance between advertisement, quality, and costs. So if in best case, like for Rolls-Royce, from Rolls-Royce, you never hear advertisement, but Rolls-Royce stands for high quality, but because it's proved about 100 years, for more than 100 years that they have quality. Also, Rolex rarely spends money for advertisement. So the best thing is to have a very quality product to a competitive price, and on long term you have lower marketing and PR costs.
Let me add something to that. I think it also depends on your business model, as Stephan already said. When you are placed as a low-cost company and produce low-cost products, maybe the quality is not so crucial, and it's more important to advertise your product, to achieve a great market share. But when you're a company like Rolls-Royce or Audi, Daimler, where you have a good image for the quality of your product, it's crucial to keep this good quality, because it's a crucial aspect why you're selling your product. So you have to invest in the quality, and in this case, it's more important to spend money in this field instead of advertising. But advertising for sure is still important. So it depends really on your business model.
Yeah.
Okay, Stefan, you have finished?
I'm through. I would hand over to you. And if you have questions, guys, just write in the chat, and I will address to Sven directly the question. I think this is the most easy way.
Yes.
So Sven, please start.
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. I hope you can see my screen. Stefan, can you give me feedback?
I see your screen, yeah.
Okay,
I see
perfect.
very well.
Yeah, thank you that I have the chance to talk to you guys. As Stefan already said, my name is Sven Herring. I work as a business consultant for Unity, which is a medium-sized business consultancy in Germany. I'm located in the beautiful city of Hamburg, and normally my projects are all over Germany, so I'm traveling a lot. And today I want to give you some insights about product development in the German automotive industry, and about the current challenges they are facing. Before I start with the topic, I want to tell you something about Unity. Which kind of company is it? Unity is it's the leading business consultancy in Germany for digital transformation. For those of you who don't know what is a business consultancy, normally clients book us when they have specific big challenges or projects which they want to be solved. For example, when you as a big industry company want to change your organization or want to develop new business models, it's a specific challenge for you, which you have maybe once a year or every 2 years. So you don't have so much experience in this field. And that's the reason why you are hiring consultants like me, because for me, it's daily business to transform organizations, to develop new concepts, to handle projects, also complex projects, and something like that. So consultants have a lot of experience, has cross-industry know-how, and that's the benefit which they can deliver for clients from the industry, for example. So that's what Unity is doing. We as a company itself, we are existing now for 25 years. And we are more or less a medium-sized business consultancy. Overall, in the whole group, we have 400 employees worldwide. At the moment, we are mostly focused on the German market, additionally with Austria and Switzerland, but we have also locations in Brazil, Egypt, and China. Our clients are the big industry companies. We are consulting 23 of the 30 DAX, which is a German stock index companies, and we have also a lot of medium-sized clients which trust us. From the topics which we are addressing, Unity is working on all aspects of the value chain, starting with the strategy development and definition of new business models. We are transforming product development organizations. This is more or less my field where I'm working. We have divisions which are concentrating on the production sector, and we have guys for the IT management, which are thinking about the implementation of new IT systems at our clients. So to sum it up, we don't developing own products. I'm not a designer who's developing a car itself, or we also don't developing IT systems. We are more the guys for the concepts and to prepare our clients to be successful in developing such things for themselves. That should be enough about Unity. To my person, I worked for Unity for now over 6 years, and I was involved in projects, especially in the automotive industry. I worked now for already 4 different automotive manufacturers. I had projects for Daimler, Mercedes-Benz, VW, Audi, and BMW. So I've seen a lot of different of these companies. I was also involved in projects in the aerospace, in the mechanical and plant engineering, and also in the public administration to enable projects for smart cities, for example. So you see also in my person that I have some cross-industry know-how, what is, as I mentioned, the big advantage to in hiring business consultancies. My experience, I'm mostly focused on product development topics. So I've seen for the automotive companies, I was involved in different transformation projects. I also worked in projects to implement so-called product lifecycle management systems that are, as I heard you had last week, the session about product life cycles with Philip. And product lifecycle management systems are big IT systems in the industry to manage this product lifecycle. I'm also responsible for the team in the Unity, which is thinking about blockchain technology, which is an innovation topic for our company. And I, as I said, also involved in topics like smart cities and digital transformation in the public administration. Yeah, so that should be enough to my person. In the following steps, I want to focus on automotive industry and the challenges especially for the product development of them. As a starting point, and to get your opinion, I prepared a small survey where I want you to visit the website slido.com. Not slido.com, slide.do, and there will be asked for such a code. And I will ask you 3 questions to get your opinion about the automotive industry so far. My first question, which I will activate in a few seconds, is, it's an easy question, it's just your opinion. What is the most attractive car manufacturer for you?
Sven, wait a minute. Slido.com. Slido.do, da? Yes.
Slido.do, and that's the code 68359. Hopefully it worked.
68359. I ask you to participate.
Yeah, I already activated the first question. So my question is, do you like Audi most, the popular German car manufacturer, which invests a lot in marketing? About the quality, I'm not so sure. Do you like more Elon Musk and Tesla, Toyota, Geely, which has a plant in Belarus, as I know? Or do you think new companies like Sony, which also presented a car last year, is your favorite car manufacturer? What's your personal opinion?
Gives the guys some time.
Yeah, for sure. I hope it works. Two guys like Audi, perfect.
You forgot Ferrari. And BMW, where's BMW?
Yeah, I think it does. So Audi represents the German car manufacturers. Maybe that's a bit easier. Otherwise, the list would become really, really long. So just 3 votes. Come on, guys. Yeah, okay. As I see, to most of you like Audi, I like that answer. For Tesla, okay. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I think Tesla as a new player on the market, we will see that later, is a big challenger for the established brands like Audi. You don't have to vote all for Audi now because just I like it. Oh yeah, there's
one likes Geely.
One likes Geely, yeah. Perfect. Okay, then let's move on to the second question, which is goes more to the brands or to the future of the automotive industry. My question is, what do you think? How will the future of mobility look like in the year 2035 in Germany? Do you think we have all our own cars which drives autonomous and you can use it as living rooms? Do you think I believe more in the car sharing model, where I can book a car whenever I want, but I don't have my own one? Do you think it's more like today, everybody has his own car, but it's just a traditional car? Or do you say, don't bore me with this old stuff like cars, I believe in flight taxis in 2035? So what do you think? How will the future of mobility look like in Germany in 2035? What's your personal opinion? Flight taxis, okay. Come on, some more roads. There are some really innovative guys in your crew who believes in flight taxis in 15 years. Nobody believes in car sharing. That's also interesting. Okay, I will move on. Yeah, as you see here, I think I also don't know the real answer, and I think there is also not the perfect answer for that, because nobody knows how the future of mobility look like. But the reason for this question is it's also a big question for the manufacturers, because you need a specific scenario which you can focus on and where you can develop your products for. And as you see, there are a lot of possible different scenarios for the future. And I think that had changed a lot in comparison to the past. When you look back into the last 100 years, I think the business model was clear, and also the kind of product was clear. You have a car, you have to buy it, you go to your regional car dealer, and then you can use it, you have to drive it. And what has changed is the technology a bit and something like that. But the basic factors were clear. And as you can see here, it changes extremely, and it makes it difficult for the car manufacturer to get a focus and to develop products. So thanks for your answers about Germany. Now it would be interesting for me to see how would you answer the same question, but with the focus for your own country, Belarus. Do you think it's different, or do you think you will have the same scenario? Or do you think there's a difference between Germany and Belarus in 2035? I'm not really experienced for your market, so it's really interesting to see from me. What do you think how it will be in your country? The guy who voted for fly taxi maybe mean Lukashenko has his own fly taxi. Maybe you have one in your country.
Don't become political, please.
Okay, so go on. Some more roads. What do you think? How would it look like in your own country? Okay, but as we can see, I think it changes a bit. When I ask you about Germany, nobody voted for car sharing, and here it's the answer with the most votes from two of you. So it's interesting to see that you also see a difference in the markets, and that's also challenges for the car manufacturers, because I think the future will look like that you have different kinds of mobility. So that also means that car manufacturers have to develop different kinds of products and cars. So when we go back, now we'll focus a bit more on the specific challenges which I see, which the car manufacturers have. I will start with market perspective. Then I will elaborate which specific consequences this have for the product development of the car manufacturers, and which solution approaches we see in the product development. So the first big challenge which they are facing is that you have a high number of new technologies. When you think about modern cars, you have different trends, technological trends. The first is the electromobility, for example, which means it changes the engine of cars completely. You need completely different components, a completely new design. So the engine has a high impact on your whole structure. The second big trend is autonomous driving, which I also ask you for the trends, and which has also a high impact because you need a lot of more sensors, software, and something like that. And the third one is connectivity. Connectivity means it's not enough anymore to just look on your product or just on your car as a product. You have to think about more an ecosystem, and you have to consider maybe also cloud services, specific apps, services. some things which also Stephan addressed in his intro, where he said you have also to develop services in parallel to your car. So these technological trends are really challenging for established car manufacturers, because in the last 100 years, they became experts in incremental product development. That means they have learned to add new features when they come up to their existing car. For example, when you look back 20 years maybe, there were the jumps from one car to further development wasn't that big. When you have a BMW of the 3 Series, from the model of 1995 to the model of 1998, the design was closely the same, and you had maybe some new features, and that's it. And now that's not enough anymore. They have to learn again to develop completely new products. When you look on this picture, you see it's a completely different design of a possible car in the future, and it's also not enough anymore to add new features to your product. For example, I have seen it in one of my clients. At the moment, there are a lot of new assistance systems which they integrate in their products. For example, there is a highway pilot. A highway pilot is a function which allows you to drive autonomous on highways. And there's, for example, a parking pilot. A parking pilot allows you to park autonomous. And that's 2 different functions or features. And for both of them, you need sometimes the same components, for example, a camera, a radar, and some software. But in the automotive companies, there are 2 different teams which are developing these features. So, and at the end, you get a product which has these 2 features and has 2 cameras which do the same. You have 2 radars which do the same, and maybe also 2 software components. And it doesn't make any sense, because when you look at the amount of all these features, it doesn't work. You have to come to an integrated product where you say, okay, I have 2 features which need the same components, and I need just 1 camera on my product. And to organize that is a huge challenge for automotive industries, especially in the speed of the technological change which we have nowadays. So that was the first challenge. The second one is that we have completely new players on the field and a change of the business model. As I already mentioned before, in the last 100 years, the business model was it didn't change so extremely. As I said, you had the car manufacturer, you had specific car dealers where you buy a product, and that's it. Now you have players like Uber or Waymo. You have services like car sharing. So the business model is changing, how you earn the money, and it's also changing who has the customer and the contact, the client contact. In the past, the automotive manufacturer has had a direct contact to the customers, and now it's changing that when you use Uber or also navigation systems from Google with his division Waymo, they have the direct contact to the clients and not the automotive manufacturer anymore. That leads to the situation that it becomes harder for them to identify what are the real needs of the clients. You have also to think about that in the future, most of the money will be made by services and the data and not by the car itself anymore. So there are extremely changes which you have also to consider in your product development to implement that and to build modern and future products. So when we sum that up, for me it was really, I think the Porter's 5 forces, which you can see here, shows you perfectly what has changed in the last 15 years. During my studies with Stephan, which is already 10 to 12 years ago. We
are not as old.
Yeah, it's yeah, still young guys. Yeah. We had in one of our first sessions of economical studies courses also Porter's 5 courses, and the automotive industry was the major example to present how a stable branch will look like. During our studies, it was said it's almost impossible that there will be new players on the field because the invest costs are too high, and the OEM, so the automotive manufacturer, has a high power in comparison to his suppliers. The customer groups are clearly defined. There are also no really substitutes and something like that. And now it has changed completely. When you look on this picture, due to the technological changes, you have completely new players in the market, like Tesla, because it's much easier to develop a car with an electric engine in comparison to a conventional engine. Suppliers become a lot of more power. For example, batteries are more important, and so players like Panasonic or Sony or Samsung play a higher role. We have substitutes, maybe in the future, like flight taxis. And also, it's not clear anymore who is the buyer. Is it in the future maybe somebody like Google with its division Waymo or Uber, or is it still a specific person who wants to buy a car for themselves? So you can see the automotive industry isn't safe for disruption anymore, which is a dramatic change in comparison to 15 years ago. So what are the consequences? What automotive manufacturers have to do now? As I said before, they have to learn again to develop new, completely new vehicles. When you look at these two pictures, on the left picture you see a car from 100 years ago, and on the right side you see maybe a modern or a car of the future. In the last 100 years, the architecture of cars didn't change so dramatically. For example, in the last 100 years, a car had 4 wheels. You have the bonnet in the front, you have a steering wheel, and you have 2 until 4 or 6 seats which are looking in the same direction. And as I said before, now you don't need it anymore. It's totally interesting when you think about electromobility. I talked with a manager in this field, and current electro cars still have this bonnet in the front, but from a technical perspective, you don't need it anymore because the battery is under the car, also the engine. So you don't need it. You can use it as a storage, but you still have it because the customer wants it because he is used to such a design. But from a technical perspective, you can change it completely. As you see here, when we think about autonomous driving, you can change completely the interior and the design inside the car. And so you have to learn again to design completely new products. And not just once, you have to learn to maybe reinvent a car completely every 5 to 10 years. Because nobody wants which technologies and technological changes you will have in the next 5 to 10 years and how a future car will look like in 10 years. So that's the first consequence. The second one is, I also mentioned it before, and also Stephan mentioned it, consider the whole life cycle and think in systems. I will start with the aspect think in systems. As I said before, it's not enough anymore to just develop a car. You have to think about in which environment this product will be used. For example, it must be possible to communicate with other cars on the streets to avoid accidents or traffic jams. You have maybe also cloud services where you send data to the product. And yeah, you have also, for example, apps which today it's really easy to link your smartphone with your car via Bluetooth, for example. And that's all aspects which you have to consider, and where you have to think which kind of requirements do we have to establish these interfaces in my car. And it's still today a big challenge for them, also for simple technologies. When you last time I rent a car, and I think it was a Renault, French product, and I tried to link my smartphone with the car, and it didn't work. And I think we are dealing with Bluetooth and smartphone technologies for 10 years now. And for me, from a customer perspective, it should just work. It should be really easy, but some car manufacturers still have some problems with that. And so you see also an easy example which challenge it could be for them to address such aspects in their product development. Especially when you think about that a normal year, it lasts normally 4 to 6 years to develop a new car. So that means cars which will come on the market this year, they started in 2014 or 2016 to develop this car. And when you look back 4 to 6 years, the possibilities and technologies have changed a lot during this time. So it's a big challenge to handle this. The second point is consider the whole life cycle. As I said before, in the future, the revenue will be made with services, or especially with services. So you must be able to collect the data from your car, from the usage, also to identify failure mode and lead them back to future product developments. You must be able to handle huge amounts of data from products in the field. And you have also to enlarge your product development. For example, as I said, when you look back 20 years, where we didn't have so much software in your car, it was enough to develop your car for 5 or 6 years, bring it into the market, and you don't have to think about it again. Then you have maybe 2 years later a facelift where you change a bit the design, and after 4 years you bring a new product on the market. So that didn't work anymore, because now you have a lot of more software in your products, which has new characteristics. There's also some new risks regarding cybersecurity and this stuff. And also to get this flexibility to improve your products also when they are in the field, you need the possibility to update them also when they are already in the market and on the street. And there you have to think about things like update over the air and some stuff. But it leads also to the situation that the product development didn't have this fixed point of ending after 4 or 6 years. So your product development for a specific type of car maybe also lasts 10 to 15 years in the future. And the third consequence, integrate fast and flexible development methods like simulation. In the past, it worked like that you design your product, then you had some easy ways for simulation, and then you built a physical prototype and you tested it. But it don't work anymore because it's really, really expensive. And due to the fast changes of technologies, you can't wait until you get a physical prototype to test it. And it's also impossible for you. When you think about autonomous driving, you have to, as an automotive manufacturer, you have to confirm that you tested all known scenarios for your car before you can bring it on the street. And for every change you made in your autonomous driving software, you have to confirm that again. And I think it's obvious that it's impossible to do that with physical prototypes. So you need possibilities for virtual testing and simulation, where you can test your cars in these scenarios and drive virtually millions of kilometers, and also just days and seconds to confirm that your new software or something like that is working. And we see that also in our clients that they make their first steps in this field. For autonomous driving, they are doing that a lot. But also for other fields, for physical components, they integrate more and more possibilities and technologies to test their products virtually and in simulation tools. Yeah, that should be enough for the consequences. And to sum that up, to give you an insight, what are trending topics for the work in product development, which we also see in our clients, what they are dealing with, and which approaches do they have to improve their product development. The first big topic which we see is the so-called systems engineering. It's a big, huge topic, and I can't explain it for you in detail, but it's a holistic approach to develop complex products step by step to decrease the complexity of products like cars during a product development, increase transparency, establish the system thinking which I addressed, and have all your processes under control. So when you want to learn more about that and how modern product development will be organized, look at the topic systems engineering, and I think you will find a lot of content and know-how which is relevant nowadays. Just as a background, systems engineering was established from the NASA 20 years ago to develop their space shuttles. And nowadays, because also standard products like cars and other things become more and more complex, also other companies like the automotive manufacturers are implementing such approaches. And to use it means that you have to transform your whole organization to work after such principles. The second big thing which we are also dealing with and where we consult our clients is the so-called digital twin. As I said before, you have to consider the whole life cycle and you have to handle the data. And that means that you need a digital twin of all produced cars. That means in the past it was enough to say, I have BMW 3 Series in different variants which I want to produce, and that's it. For the future, you have to know that Stephan Hoffmann bought a BMW 3 Series with full equipment from the M series, and after 2 years he came to a car dealer and improved the car again, and now you have a heck spoiler, for example. So you need to know how about the configuration of every car you have to produce, because just when you know that, you're also able to understand the data which you get from the field. For example, when you get some failure information from the car from Stephan Hoffmann, you have to reflect which kind of configuration of car does he have. Maybe also which services can I provide him, and where is also the failure come from. So for car manufacturers, this is a big challenge because you need also the IT systems to handle this amount of data. And I addressed at the beginning that also systems which are the systems which should be able in the future to handle digital twins. They have to improve a lot to get or to handle these information, and also to be able to analyze these information and get the information you want. So that's the second big topic. And can you hear me? Still hear me? I had information that I have a bad network quality, but I think it still works.
We hear you very well. But I think, Sven, to have more opportunity to address some questions, I would ask you to come to the end.
Yeah, I have just one slide, more slide, and then I already finished. The second big topic the second big or the third big topic which we see is agile project management. Probably you have already heard from it. Just for as 3 or 4 statements, it's useful when you have a high level of uncertainty, which we see in the automotive sector, because they don't know how future cars will really look like. So you can use these approaches to get more flexibility in your processes, to be able to handle uncertainties and also influence from outside of your divisions, like new technologies. And so that's a third big trend which we see, and which is, from my perspective, really important for the future, and which is also a standard know-how which every student, especially economical student, should have, how you work in an agile environment. So that brings me to the end from my short presentation. I hope I could give you a short overview about the challenges which automotive manufacturers are facing with or addressing with, and how they try to handle it. And yeah, we will see in the future which scenario become real, and also which car manufacturer will survive and have the possibilities to handle all these challenges. And yeah, maybe we will talk again in 5 years and see what have improved. So thank you for my attention, or for your attention, and now we will see if you have any questions. Yeah, I think my presentation was so clear, there aren't no questions anymore.
I have a question then, if nobody else has a question.
Yes.
Sven, why automotive manufacturers need your help? Why they call you?
Yeah, as I mentioned at the beginning, they have the challenge that they are, how can I say it? They are blind to see the changes. They are used to their processes, to their IT systems, and how they will work. And for them, from their inside view, it's impossible to really see what is state of the art, to get this external perspective and get a feedback. Yeah, what has to be improved, and that's our real benefit. We come from outside the company, have a clear view, have seen different companies, have seen best practices, and that gives us the possibility to analyze processes and workflows in companies, and to say, okay, we have seen that's not best practice anymore, you can improve it, and give them some advices for the future. That's the first aspect. The second aspect is, for us as a consultant, it's completely normal to handle these big transformation projects. For us, it's daily business. For an employee of a car manufacturer, they have his daily business. In a product development, it's designing a car or purchase some components. And for them, they don't have any experience in such transformation projects, what they have to think about and considering. So we bring this knowledge into these companies, and together with them, we develop the future procedures, and we help them also to implement them in their company, and to address the changes. And there's also one big aspect. It's not just about processes and organizational changes. What most of our clients forget is the aspect of change management. When you transform a company, you have to think about the people who have to work in your environment. So we have the experience and the knowledge how to address the specific concerns of every employee, and what are the specific steps which you have to do to motivate them and take them with you on your way of the transformation. So that's the reason why they are hiring us as consultants.
Yeah, Sven, thank you very much.
Whenever you have further questions, you can add me also on LinkedIn and ask me after the session. That's also a possibility whenever you have further questions. For me, it would be interesting to keep in touch with you and discuss it later.
Yeah. Maybe Dimitri, you have some question, or you want to say something?
Well, actually, what about your past working experience? So how you actually migrated to the role that you're now carrying on? So how many years have it taken for you to take the current role, and what particular skills you had to develop and you are continuing to develop in order to be competitive on the role you currently hold?
Okay. You mean as a role as a business consultant, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. I think it depends on the field where you're working. There are business consultancies and business consultants for I think every specific aspect of a value chain of a company. That means there are consultings or consultancies for marketing, for purchasing, for product development, strategy. But in general, I think what all consultants need are highly or high skills in analytics. So you should be able to analyze complex situations, to structure them, to identify where's the real problem. That's the first point, I think. You should be able to handle different projects and also people in parallel. Through my projects, I see every week new people. I have to get in touch with them. So you should be able to handle that. So it's also maybe a specific challenge. So it's more a soft skill. Project management is a general topic. And also, as I said, agile project management, which I think becomes more relevant in the future. And then you need skills for your specific field where you are consulting. For me, it's product development and engineering. For other guys, it could be finance and something like that. So that depends on the field. And that's which I also have to address. When you work for consulting, you should also know it's not a job 9 to 5. You should be motivated to work a lot. You should be motivated. But then you get also the chance to work together with motivated people. I had the chance at the beginning of my career to work with business leaders, which is also not that normal in every job. So that's are the benefits of business consulting. You have, I think it's a good starting point for a professional career, but it's also not the easiest job.
Okay, thank you. And I have also one question. What is the size of projects that you are assigned to execute? So does it mean that you are just working on small projects, on middle-sized or large projects, or you're focusing on large projects that last years, for instance?
It also depends. I can give you different examples. My last project was for a big automotive manufacturer, and there we implemented systems engineering. And this project lasts between 5 and 10 years. So it's a big project. And in this project, circa 10,000 people have to change their roles and jobs. So we transform the whole product development divisions and also parts of production, strategy development, which have interfaces with the product development. So you see, it has a huge impact. And but there are also other projects. For example, I was involved in the aerospace, where it was about technology research for drones. that was just a project for 2 months. So it also depends on the fields. There are big, I would say big ships, which last years, but there are also projects which just go a few weeks or months. It depends. But product development topics are mostly longer projects.
Okay, thank you, Sven. Stephan?
Okay. Yes, thank you very much, Sven, for these insights. I think everybody who has more questions, I can forward your LinkedIn details. I mean, everybody can find you on LinkedIn, but maybe it's more easy. And yeah, in this group, I just can recommend to go to LinkedIn. It's more important than Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. To become a young professional, this is a very important network, and get in touch with Sven. And if you have some certain questions also about other industries, maybe I have friends who are in this industry, and of course I can connect you there. I have to say, I have to conclude our lecture today because I have another meeting already 1 minute ago. And yeah, in 30 minutes I have the next meeting, so I'm quite busy, and my meetings today end not at 19:30. At 20 o'clock I have another meeting, but also dinner. Yeah. So I have to say, at least I have to say goodbye.
Yeah, Stephan, I sent you the bill, as you said at the beginning.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sven, again, and see you next week.
Yeah, Sven.
With Ulrich, a boy from Siemens, who already he is now in the meeting to listen what we are saying and if we are saying correctly.
Right.
Yeah, Stephan and Sven, thank you very much for this interesting meeting. It was really inspiring and very valuable for our students who are seeking to get international experience. Yeah, and international input to their qualification development.
Yeah, it was a pleasure for me. And as I said before, whenever you have further questions, don't hesitate to contact me, and we can discuss.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have a nice day. Enjoy your course. Bye.
Yeah, have a nice day ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye. So I will turn off the record, and like the last time, but I think today I will just send you the record tomorrow.